Hello Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm preparing here to do your reading, Sagittarius. Okay, so, well, in the sky Jupiter is meeting up with Venus this week. And Jupiter is your sign, Sagittarius, right? You're the optimistic one, you're the big one. In the Scorpio reading, I talked about, Jupiter a bit like Zeus, like this giant, fiery, or very optimistic, very potent energy. Jupiter is always about, like, potential and optimism and enthusiasm and self-worth and prosperity, you could say, having it or wanting it or getting it, finding ways of getting it, doors opening, self-worth, believing in yourself, everything that is very like that builds up, right? That builds up a character, you could say. So to build up a character, you should look for Sagittarius, right? It's the way that they can come across. It's very big planet. Usually it's known as a benefic. But I think it depends on your chart and your chart position, whatever aspects you have. I think that certain people can have a different feeling of Jupiter. For instance, my Jupiter is in Scorpio, and so I feel that, and it's in the 10th house of work. So Scorpio can be secretive, right? It can be mystic. It's the death card in tarot. It's about death and rebirth. I do this, right? But most of my life it has not been like that. Most of my life I lived very ordinary life. I had very ordinary education and jobs and normal income, paying taxes, doing all this kind of stuff, and there is a so it has kind of been hidden or not revealed, not well, I guess sometimes Scorpio can overstep, right? It can either become too vulgar or it can become too, I don't know. But there is something about this energy. I feel that in my position with how Jupiter is in my chart, it doesn't always comes out as a benefic in my case. Or it doesn't feel like that. Maybe it is, in the long term, but it doesn't really feel like that. If you have Jupiter in Sagittarius, for instance, in its home position, like, then you would probably have, it would be almost built into you. Like, the optimism is served. It's already there. It's like the path has already been paved for your steps, you could say, right? So I think it's different how it comes out. Okay. Anyway, the energy I have is something about it. Well, you could have a look at the Scorpio reading a little bit about this. In the Scorpio reading, I talked about, we have decision here. Decision about release of some kind. Maybe releasing someone. I talked about the white doves actually in the like a message from the white dove that may have an influence on the big Zeus of Jupiter, and we have Venus and Jupiter meeting up this week. I feel that for your reading, it's something about a message or an incoming peace offering. Yeah, it has. I said that in the Scorpio reading. There is some kind of message here that could end up, I want to say, changing your mind. That you're changing your mind about something. Maybe you're wondering if there's something you should do to change some ground rules, or again, we just saw the decision card where the woman is opening the cave and let the doves out. Like, that is entirely her decision. She could keep it locked for her own enjoyment or for her own pleasure. But it's almost like having this feeling that when you look at your beloved doves in there, whom you may love and adore and you like them, they are a pleasure for you, then suddenly realizing that they don't look that happy, right? Because they're not in their natural environment. They don't like it in there. I have that feeling. Something about the big one realizing that a smaller one is actually very unhappy. And then thinking about it and saying, okay, I probably have to let this go. Even though I may lose something, but in the long term, I will not lose. In the long term, this is going to be best for all of us. In the long term, it's time, right? A child that moves out, or it's time to release that bond, or time to say goodbye, or there's something about that, and having a realization about it. In the Scorpio reading, it was like the dove was speaking to Scorpio, right? Like waving a white flag. Ooh, listen. And and here I feel like, because Sagittarius is known to talk to reference to Jupiter being the big one, and maybe the big wise one in this case, and actually looking at a situation as saying, oh, well, I think this is time, right? But Jupiter slow moving, like doesn't make it maybe not making decisions quickly. Like maybe this is something that has been like in a process of a longer period of time. And then it's just now it's time. Now we are here. Now it's actually ripe, things are ripe for this decision. I get also a feeling of new earth here. New beginning with Sagittarius here. There could be something about a focus on feminine energy. Like when Jupiter shines its light on Venus, it's like highlighting the feminine. It's like making her bigger, like putting a magnifying glass over her and making her look bigger, or making her, that other people see her. Right? It would be like, instead of you walk into a room with your wife and your daughter, right? No, here you walk into the room and you kind of present them to the room, right? As your most important people in your life, right? That because Jupiter in itself is big. Like people, like when Jupiter is in in his best core, you could say, he is extremely bright and shines very brightly. He's very big. He doesn't need to take the room. He already does. Here it's like Jupiter actually let others come in and maybe get the spotlight. It's almost like he steps a bit back, or he stands behind her, and let her shine in his glory, you could say, or with his backing, that he backs up Venus, right? So there could be something about focus on feminine energy, what feminine energy is, mother energy, how important this is. Like maybe as a bit of a breakthrough. There could be talk, articles, maybe interviews where many women are in focus, and maybe also the women that have been a bit in the background or not prioritized. Like women that do a lot of groundwork, but they are not the ones that are in the spotlight. Sometimes we know that behind a very successful man, we have a very loyal woman. And it's those kind of women. I feel like that is kind of, that there could be something about a bit like and also that the women actually get to feel that, like they get to feel some kind of backing. They get to feel that, oh, they do actually see me, right? They do actually see what I'm doing. They do actually recognize that I'm here, something like that, where they may have felt a bit invisible, or they may have felt like the doves in the cave, right? That they have kind of been positioned there because Jupiter had to do his thing, right? Women that may feel a bit forgotten. There could be stories also about, like historical stories about women who actually did a lot of groundwork during wars, or but wars, like groundwork that allows for something else to be big, to be in charge of something, but behind it there's usually a strong woman also, right? But this woman is maybe not in the headlines. It's not something that is put there. But that without them, like if they left the building, this Jupiter could crack. Like the home base, you could say, the female in the home base, the hearth fire is necessary for Jupiter to do his thing, Without it, it kind of cracks. It's not the same. Jupiter could also do his thing because of her, right? Because of her admiration, because of her approval, because of her support. He's doing his thing, his big thing. Without her approval, without her presence, without her applause, it doesn't make sense. It loses meaning. So I have something like that here, I feel like. And this could be this, like a realization, like an epiphany, this incoming message, this that something dawns on you, that it becomes clearer, that actually my fame or my status or my greatness depends on something. Or I may never have really thought about that, but when I think about it, I realize it. Or if she's leaving, then you get it. This is where the light bulb moment comes, that you are alone there in your greatness, but there's nobody to share it with. There's nobody that really cares. She took the children, Who am I doing this for, right? Why am I even doing this? In the Scorpio reading, I literally talked about how Sun is providing, like the big sun is providing warmth for Earth so that it can sprout and we can have spring and everything. How we are dependent on this cycle with the sun, that everybody here on Earth is depending on this interaction. So how vegetation is definitely dependent on interaction with the sun, but also that if the sun becomes too bright, it burns us, right? So there's something about a balance here, I feel like, also. Something about a balance between maybe career and the wife, or, you know, something like that. That you're realizing that it becomes very apparent that someone is maybe not that happy, or someone is realizing, I need to put more focus on my woman. I need to put more focus on a daughter, perhaps, right? Because I've been away, or I have been so concentrating on something else that they have actually been quite miserable. Or they have felt like they were caved. Like, society is built by men, for men. So one of the problems with this is that women actually have to act like men in this world. Like, the more masculine you can act in society as a woman, the more success you can have. It's not feminine. Like, the entire narrative in society is about, it's words, books, you know, education, it's learning, higher learning. It's you have to be eloquent in your speak. You have to argument. You have to be well spoken. You have to be well written. You have to dress right. With a straight back and a fierce look. You have to be this eye contact. You cannot be sensual in a business world, you know, and expect to have success. Success comes from following the rules, doing the things, knowing enough, being well educated enough. That's how you can do this. So Jupiter, in my book about this reading, can also talk about this, we say, masculine world that we live in. That you could say it's created perhaps with the good intention. Like like from the get-go, it was created as a good intention for people to have choices and so on, and make something of themselves, or be able to earn more money. When communities was established, and then eventually maybe some kind of regulations or law, and then it built and built and built and built and so on. But from the get-go, it was the idea that this should make life safer, or it should be a good thing, right? But maybe today society has become like too demanding, right? There's so much you need to know. There's so much you need to be updated on, to be relevant in there. And if you somehow miss out on this, then you're lost. You are lost in secondary jobs. You are locked into certain hierarchical levels, and you can never get out. So here we could also talk about something like social statuses, and how something has been kept there on purpose. So some were leaders by purpose, or by control, and some were workers by control. In certain countries and cultures, this is just by gender, that men are naturally favored and women are supposed to stay at home, you know. So just take it how it resonates depending on where you live in the world and what your circumstances are. But there's something like that, where this, you could say, the big one, the one that is in charge, you could say, is realizing something. I feel like. It's like there is, you can only step on someone for a certain amount of time. Eventually they're dying, they will die. So how much will you squeeze, right? There is this feeling that maybe we have squeezed a bit too much here. We should lessen the squeezing and let something allow it to heal itself. In my book, the one that is going to clean up Earth when we as humans have destroyed it, it's not going to be us, it's going to be nature. It's going to be the fungi. When we are gone, because there's nothing more to eat, and that we have destroyed everything, polluted everything, when we live underground, there's no fresh air and so on. When we do that, it's not going to be us that saves the planet. It will be vegetation itself, as it has done many times before, when there has been like apocalypse disasters happening to Earth. Like when the dinosaurs were killed. Who fixed it? Well, Gaia did. Right, Gaia did, her vegetation did. When she was ready, first she got a hit, right, and then she was bruised and hurting, and then she was healing, and then she sprouted again. But it's going to take a while, right? There's a time of healing. If someone has been, pressed down like this, eventually they're dying. Eventually they're dead. So maybe you should take the load off if you wanted to stay. In the Scorpio reading, I feel like there's a link here. In the Scorpio reading, and Scorpio, as I just said, it's a death card in tarot, right? Potential death of something is also going to make Scorpio realize, oh, maybe I should back off, because if I lose this, life is like, as I said, Venus, if there's no vegetation on Earth, if there's no summer, if there's no flowers, if there are no bees, if there's no life, then we will die here. And you can only squeeze to a certain point. Then eventually it's like the tipping has gone to the other side, and now we are facing destruction, right? But our stubborn minds, we are so routine, we think in routine ways, and we are stubborn and we're selfish. So we want it to be like it always has been, what we're used to. We don't want to give up our luxuries. What I get here, and what I also got in the Scorpio reading, is something like, it's time for a new negotiation. Like, we really have to talk now, because this squeezing is, or as I just said, Sagittarius is optimistic, enthusiastic. It has normally it's enthusiastic, it's optimistic, it has a lot of fire, it sees opportunities, there are growth potential and everything. But if you have a barren ground, no matter how much you are trying to tell someone, no matter how much you try, if you have squeezed them down so that they are almost barren, it takes a while for them to trust what you're saying. Especially if you have never said it before. Right? If someone has been sitting like the dove in the cave and you have not paid attention to them for a long time, they will not trust you immediately. They maybe don't even want to talk to you. Maybe they just turn their back to you. You cannot expect, because you are enthusiastic about something that, and you haven't given them any kind of attention for a long time, that now you come in, da, 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 la la, here I am, and then they're just kind of, yeah, and so what, right? There is something about, it probably takes a while. Their reaction may actually surprise you. You thought that, look at all this great I have done, right? And they're kind of, well, I don't care. Or, yeah, you have done all of that. Congratulations. Right? But I'm still withdrawing and not getting it, and then realizing, but what have I done? Right? Yeah, what is it you've done? Well, you've been absent. Perhaps I get something like that. There is a message here about that someone needs to realize or put someone forward, or put your attention on something instead of looking away from it, that now you actually have to put your attention on it. There could be increased leadership awareness on climate or something like that, that world leaders really need to do something, that it has been squeezed for too long. That harvest is not going to be as we expected. Things are, Venus can show up in different ways, but don't neglect Venus. Like I said it in Scorpio reading, like Venus doesn't like to be neglected. Then she becomes very unhappy. Feminine energy, especially Venus energy, no, don't neglect them. Like they it's like they wither. They lose beauty. They become very unhappy. They like to be desired. They like to be adored. They like to be courted. Like, it's not necessarily about the. It's the. And this is maybe a really big difference between men and women, or masculine and feminine, is that for men, they could be seeking the orgasm. Women could be seeking being desired, adored, idealized, or cherished, is the orgasm. Like, your attention on them is the orgasm for the feminine, for Venus. So if you are not giving her attention, if she doesn't feel desired, wanted, beautiful, and everything, then she is crippling. Like she becomes crippled. She becomes, it's like a rose bush that never flowers. It's infertility. So I get something, I don't, it's just an example, right? So there is something here about, I want to say, proper attention on something, or necessary attention on something, which could have been neglected, and someone realizing it. And in this case, I feel it's you, because you are Jupiter. So let's have a look at this. Two of Cups. Yeah, someone definitely needing to speak here. Exchanging of, I hear vows. Maybe someone is getting married, or there is a proposal here. That could be Jupiter with Venus. A proposal. Two of Cups is like exchanging water, right? Exchanging feelings, sharing feelings, looking at each other's eyes, feeling connected. And we have the rainbow here. And yeah, that's another thing between feminine and masculine energy. Feminine energy and women, like well, whether it's good or not, it just is a bit like that. That in regards of romance, feminine energy has these probably a bit romantic or a bit dream world, like that. There is somewhere inside, even a very busy businesswoman, in regards to romance, there's probably still a little girl in there that wants to feel adored and courted, and that wants the attention, that wants to be showered with adoration. Somewhere, I think that for many women, I think that there's still a little girl in there that is looking for this approval and these things like that. And there could be something about realizing that Venus can have a soothing effect on something. She's a peacekeeper, right? She loves to love. She loves to play, and she loves to be connected here. She loves to look someone in their eyes and kissing, and she loves the connection and spending time together. And as I said, sex is not enough. Like it's definitely not enough for Venus. It's all the other things. It's the dressing up, it's the nails, it's the makeup, it's the almost also the anticipation of meeting someone. It's the anticipation of that I'm going on a romantic dinner with my Jupiter here, right? So Venus could be asking to be courted here. Venus could be asked to, that you are, let's say you are you're making the plans. Then that you initiate the plans for a romantic day, right? That you are going to surprise her, or you are going to bring her somewhere, take her to the water. Now I get an image of two people swimming here together. But I also get a feeling of like with the cosmic stars here, a bit like I know this one. Like if you meet someone, if you meet someone, and then it's like there's this almost like a star connection. It's like you just know that there's something about this one. There's something about them, and you just can't seem to shake it, right? Two of Cups, I usually see this a bit like that they are exchanging. They are exchanging feelings here. So this can be a first date. This can be people renewing their vows. This can be maybe even, marriages where there has been a lot of work and they haven't had time to be romantic in a long time, and now they are, like, they go on this cruise, or like they really need to revive something here that has maybe become a bit routine, that something needs to be revived here, otherwise it becomes routine, or it becomes masculine, right? It becomes like a mechanical day. I think sometimes in society, as I said, it's masculine, right? It becomes mechanical. It loses the flirting, right? It loses the play. It loses the sometimes also the feeling of kindness, because I like the work requirement is very steady. And the language is very masculine. There are rules and regulations for everything, right? So this is about maybe leisure time. This is about reviving something that is not that is Venus-like, that is where we are actually connecting, right? We're connecting. And we are seeing each other. Like I see you as masculine, I see you as feminine, right? Realizing that these two energies are actually important. That if our lives becomes too mechanical, we can't breathe in there. If it becomes too much play, we will not have enough money, right, to sustain ourselves. There's something about like a balance between these energies, right? Where here it becomes too tightened. Here it becomes too loose, right? But we kind of need both in our lives. And even as people, we need both. So if someone has been very focused on work and doing great things, we also appreciate maybe the smaller things in the home, because they're necessary. If they were not here, when you come home from a big work day, like if they were not here, it wouldn't make, like, life would be empty. So there's something about that realizing that some of the things you may we have been programmed, we have been educated to focus on, is not making us happy unless we have a balance with something else and actually appreciating it very much. Because it's the balance you need in your life. It's the beauty you need to come home to, the relaxation, the peace perhaps, the joy in there, the playfulness, the nice dinner, or the beautiful wife, right? So when you're out there doing great things, you are very focused, you're very masculine here. When you come home, it's the hearth fire, right? It's the beauty, it's the warmth. You don't have to fight here. You can do your fighting out in the big world, and then you come home to this warm embrace. But without this warm embrace, everything you're doing out here doesn't, when you come home to a cold, empty home, it's like it loses its value, right? Then Jupiter becomes lonely, right? He needs company. And Venus needs company. So it's like that there could be something about that both of them are actually realizing each other here. Maybe, negotiating life terms together, right? Being very honest with your emotions, actually saying that, as I just said, Venus loves attention. Venus loves to be in love, like the crush feeling of being having someone putting attention on you, shines their light on you, like the sun on our earth, right? It's if we don't have that attention here, nothing is sprouting on our earth, right? It's Venus cannot, feminine energy cannot look its best. It loses its sense of value if nobody is looking at it. If nobody is putting attention on it. Venus is Venus has never been a machine and never will be. That's not how she works at all. And if the masculine energy doesn't know this, she will leave eventually, because she gets exhausted. There is no, like, the attention from a man on a woman is her oxygen. Like, it makes her flourish. It's how she opens and becomes the rose flower. But if there's no attention on her, that he puts his attention on something else, she will wither. She will become, exhausted and very unhappy. And if you return to someone like that, who has been exhausted and unhappy, even though you come in with all your glory and success, she will probably not welcome you in, because you left her, right? You left her there. It would take some time. I have a feeling of that this is going to, like I said, if she has been exhausted, if Earth became barren here for some reason, it would take a while for her to recover. And I have that feeling there's something about, I have neglected something here. Probably I should come in and want to do all kinds of stuff, but this is kind of not the way. And because you think it's a great way, it doesn't maybe work for Venus. Like, things that cheer Jupiter up is probably not necessarily cheering, again, Jupiter may like sex, right? But Venus, if she's exhausted, needs something else. And it's that kind of realization that, something is not working here for them, right? So I need to change tactic, or I need to be a different kind of man, or something like that here. 5 of water, 5 are always cards of suffering in some way, right? 5 of cups is a feeling of being grieving, mourning, sad, depressed, maybe anxiety, definitely unhappy here, right? I get a feeling of, even though there are pearls here, even if she had a maid, like a servant here, that's not what she's looking for. Even though she has a child here and pearls and maybe a nice home and fine dresses, it's not what she's looking for. It can only sustain her for so long. Like underneath it all, she's looking for something else here. She's looking for this here, right? This can also be someone who is thinking about how that she is, you know, like she's remembering the first time you met, and she's remembering the first date you were on, but then how she actually feels now. She's unhappy here. So these are water cards. I'm kind of thinking that maybe these are your emotions, or they have to do with maybe a water sign here. There's definitely a lot of water here going on. It's emotional. So I think Jupiter is going to be confronted with something emotional from Venus, perhaps. And again, when I say Venus, well, you can, let's say you are a Taurus man, then you embrace Venus energy. You have Venus energy. So I'm not talking about necessarily only men and women. Gender-wise, I'm talking about who carries most of the masculine energy and who carries most of the feminine energy in you here. So just think about, you can be a Sagittarius and still have water placements. Many of them perhaps. Then this would probably be you. This is highly emotional. This is in the root position here. This tells me something about generally actually feeling quite unhappy. So I don't think necessarily this is you, Sagittarius, because like you have Jupiter, and Jupiter is your helper, you could say, or inspirational source. This can be someone you're dealing with here. Someone is unhappy. Someone is unhappy here. It's in the root position. I want to say, actually, I feel like this could be more general feminine energy here. General Venus is unhappy. Women are unhappy. Women have very little place to actually be feminine, or feminine energy has very little place to be feminine in a world like civilization. There is very little room for her and her qualities. She's not regarded. She's considered weak, hysterical, emotional, ineffective, and so on. This can make her miserable. This can be something that we all feel to a certain extent, that there's a part of us that is so disregarded and disrespected, and that this is a part of us that actually feels very, very unhappy. And there can be taboos here, right? There can be something like we're not actually expressing it because we know it's not leading anywhere. We will not be heard anyway. Like the massive force of society is so big on us. So we kind of just hide the emotions that we have. And this is what this is. I feel like a realization that this is not working, right? someone here is from a place, and it's in the root position, so it tells me that they're very unhappy. So if you come in here and you want to talk to her, I feel like I had this inkling that it's like if you have left her alone here, if nobody has been really paying attention on her, and when I talk about Venus, I also think about the way we conduct ourselves. Venus can be Gaia. We can talk about the earth, climate, nature. We can talk about how we treat our own bodies, how we neglect our own bodies or put force on it. Like when it doesn't look the way we want it, we criticize ourselves and so on. There's an unhappiness here, sadness. A sadness that I almost get also, it's like she has sunken herself underwater here, so nobody will hear her cry, right? So even when she is miserable, it's something she has to hide. Again, I think many men, they just want this happy woman. Like they want to come home to this happy, warm, soft woman. But a woman will only be like this if you put attention on her, if you care for her, if you care for her needs, her even the little girl inside. If you don't do that, she will be miserable here. Young girls where the father is always working, never putting attention on these little girls, they grow up with the idea that father doesn't really care about me. They have no self-worth. How are they supposed to be this whole, vibrant, warm, soft woman for you or for a man? How are they supposed to be that? If they are left with all the things going on in the home, there is something about that these energies need to come more together, right? They can't. They need to have a talk. I felt that also in the Scorpio reading. There is something here that may, like a secret that may have been hidden for a very long time. And we know that when something is hidden for a long time, eventually it needs to come to the surface because it has been bottled up, right? I have that feeling here. Someone is miserable. They need some tender loving care here, right? They need some romance. They need play, right? They need to laugh with you. They need to feel free with you, adored by you, favored by you, prioritized. They need to know that you are their queen, or they are your queen, right? They need to feel that. They need to be, if you stay away from her, she's just becoming very, very unhappy. And if this is a control mechanism, yeah, it's definitely working. But it eventually, as I said, you can only press her to a certain point here. Then she will die. She will drown here. She will drown in her own sadness. And the woman you get out of this is a broken woman. This is not the one you want. This is like putting some kind of pressure on her, which she is not built to carry. That's not how she works. She's not masculine, right? She's not a warrior machine. She's not built to be like that. So why do we keep asking feminine energies to look like they are masculine? Why do we keep putting this pressure on her? She's not built to do that, to lift those weights, to look like that, to behave like that, and then put up a smile and look like she is happy when she's not happy at all here. I want to say this one could be dying because she is neglected, or she is on the brink of turning. And when she turns, she doesn't care anymore. Like from caring a lot. The reason why she's unhappy is because she cares. She cares. But this is the turning point where she may not care anymore. She may not even care for her life. Because if you're not looking at her, if you're not adoring her, she has no value. Everything disappears when the attention is not there. And eventually she's losing the caring. And then she turns. And when she turns, she doesn't care anymore. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about men. She doesn't care about marriage. She doesn't care about... Then she is out. She becomes emotionless. This is the fear here. The fear is this. If someone turns, when a woman shuts down her caring, or when a feminine shuts down their caring, it's over. It's like definitely over. Like they have been waiting for you to see. They have been waiting for you to understand and intuit their unhappiness. They have been waiting for you to get out of your egoic mind. They have been waiting for you to see. They have been waiting for you to come back. They have been waiting for you. Their devotion, their caring, their affection, it's all withered. So be careful about unhappy women. Women say something when they believe that there is an opening for discussion, there's an opening for talking here. If they get overruled too many times, then a woman or a feminine can become silent. When they become silent, this is happening. When they don't speak, they don't engage, they withdraw, they never call, they are seemingly not really on. When you get home, they are cold or they are colder. They don't smile as much. They don't talk as much. There's no vibrancy and beauty in their eyes. They neglect themselves, their body and everything. This is where you start to have this woman here. Her oxygen is gone, like she is starving. And you can do that, of course. There is something of the same thing going on as in the Scorpio reading. You can do that, of course. You can put yourself in the spotlight and have this magnificence. You control a lot of power and fire, Sagittarius, but if this is gained on someone else's behalf, then and they are losing their ability to breathe here, you will have a very unhappy marriage, I want to say. Here they are speaking, so I get this feeling it's like Venus and Jupiter meeting up, right? They have this conversation here, a date night out. They are, so maybe there will be some kind of, maybe a lot of restaurant tables will be booked during this week where they are meeting up. It's like someone is remembering, oh, it's also, well, it's been a while. Maybe I should take my wife on a mini cruise, or maybe we need to refresh our vows, or maybe we need to actually have a romantic weekend or something, right? Because someone is definitely unhappy here. You don't want to leave her here. As I said, it's if the feminine energy becomes infertile and withers, then we have no nature. We will have no crops. We will have no food. There will be no children. Everything will be infertile. There will be no life. We don't want to leave her alone here. No matter how we are looking at this, these two energies need each other. I talked about in the Scorpio reading us, we really need each other. And there should be this respect on each of them. Like none should be favored like that, because it's not going, nobody will be happy in this. We need a balance in our life. It's extremely important. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Crown position. Fire here, Queen of Gabriel. You can do anything right now. Go after what you want. The ability to attract helpful people. So this is passionate, charming, brilliant, independent. Yeah, this is you, right? This is fire energy. This is you. So we could have you here actually feeling neglected. Let's say you are a woman here, Sagittarius woman, but you feel unhappy with something in your life. You can go and do whatever you want, perhaps. Again, maybe you have money, you have success, but what is on your mind here, or what you're thinking about, or what you're occupied with as a partner here, right? Or an ex, or the marriage you're in. Again, she sits here alone, right? She's alone here. She feels alone. Again, she may have status, she may have a nice work, she may have career, she may have money, she can do whatever she wants. She's charming, she's brilliant, independent, passionate. You can do whatever you want. You can go after what you want, but what you can't necessarily get is someone who actually loves you. Loves you. Again, if you come across here as a woman of being too masculine, it's difficult to find There's definitely something about like independent, passionate, brilliant, intelligent, charming. It's like someone having it all here. I feel like this is Jupiter, right? It's a Jupiter energy. It's charismatic. It has everything. It's successful. Work is good. Money is good. You can do whatever you want. You can do anything right now. It says here you're independent, everything. But in your gut feeling, in your heart, you are thinking about this. So you're thinking about the thing, perhaps, that is not in your life, the one that got away, or someone here, something here. Or you would say that a part of you has gotten to be very successful, but another part of you is very neglected. Maybe you have been working a lot on career. You have been very, focused on working, but you have neglected the play. You have neglected feeling sensual. You have neglected, and there is this feeling of needing to come together here. Needing some other kind of, I need time off to go and do something where I yeah. I need to come together with someone here. We could talk about an inner conversation between even your masculine and feminine traits here that need to talk. They need to have a talk here. It's like it has become maybe too much work, too structured, too disciplined, maybe too fiery. Water is softness, it's kindness, it's peace, it is rejuvenation, where this could be very active, very go-getter, very out there partying, having a good time, maybe a lot of hookups or sex or something. It's the time right now is very potent for this. The springtime here with the flowers and everything. It is the mating season, you could say, or it's a season of great lust, I think. In Chinese medicine, this is the wood season or wood element, the time of the wood element, which is controlled. It is controlled by fire. So this could be the reason why this is here. Charming, dating, dating, hooking up and having sex with someone is very easy right now. Like, it's very potent at this point. But it's not the same as finding love, the one here. And so you can have a lot of dating going on. You could have a lot of activity. You can have a lot of that boosts your self-confidence, perhaps. But deep down, you're missing something here. Someone is missing something. There's something that is neglected here, where she feels not desired. I feel like there's something about this one being desired, but not this one. Someone who is passionate, charming, brilliant, independent, maybe having their own business, being, active, sports active. She follows the masculine trend. So she dresses according to what makes her attractive. She's the high heels, she's making herself attractive in a masculine world. In all kinds of ways. The way she works, the way she speaks, the way she dresses. She may have power here. She sits on a throne. She could be a leader, a boss in some way. So she could be quite successful here. She has a lot of things around her that looks very great here. She may come across as like very accomplished in this world. But when you are accomplished in this world, as I said, you are masculine. Like, there is no other way. You need to learn masculine traits to be accomplished in a masculine driven world. Which means that we have neglected this other part of you, especially if you are a woman. Actually, I feel like many women, they don't even know how to be feminine here. Like, I'm not even sure I know exactly what that is. Like, if I should really embrace this, what would that mean? Because I have not been told so. There are no role models for this. Everything in our society circles itself around masculinity. Feminine traits, well, yeah, to a certain point, of course, they are there. But I think many women actually can't loosen up. They don't know how to be free in their feminine state. And I think this is one of the things that that is coming up. Something like a realization that I don't even know how to play. I don't know how to be free. What does it mean to be feminine? Feminine is not just about having sex with someone. It's about feeling feminine, embracing feminine traits, embracing your emotions, sensuality. You know that your body is starving for sensuality because you're not giving it, you're not providing it, right? Nobody is providing. The masculine side of you is not providing it. You're not giving yourself time to be this one. That you are way too much this one here. And this is also favored. I must say that in the masculine world, this is favored. You can be a very attractive woman here, very powerful, but actually you are not happy, right? So there's something in you that is not happy here, that is starving. So this is also, Jupiter can act as this magnifying glass, putting its magnifying abilities on Venus. You know, it's like, how does Venus actually feel, right? And Venus doesn't feel well. Venus doesn't know how to be Venus. At least not this one. Okay, so let's have a card on this. Can I have another card on the 5 of water here? Ooh. I get lightning here. Yeah, she can be I actually get anger here, anger underwater. Withheld anger. Lightning, right? Lightning is extremely powerful. This could be like aggression, withheld aggression. What is that called? Holding a grudge, holding a big grudge here. Okay, it's interesting. I don't know if you can see this, but there is actually kind of a shape of a body in the background here. Like a human body. The head is here, arms are here, and start of the legs are here. This is like the solar plexus area. This tells, but it's not almost not visible. So you see, again, I'm talking about something that is almost not here anymore. Like it's so unhappy that it loses its vital life force, power to exist. It's almost not here anymore. Like you can barely see the shape in the background. And if we look in nature, like if you look at a star, for instance, when the star, like the sun, the sun will be active for a long time still yet, but when a star is losing its fusion power, it's going to go through a process where it eventually will implode on itself. I have a bit of this feeling here, that something is losing its power. So it's kind of, it's inverting the energy. As I said, you don't want her to turn. I get a feeling someone is turning, being turned into something else. When someone turns into something else, she becomes very different. And from actually caring, she can get to a point of not caring and starting only to care about herself, because she's almost dying. So she needs to. She can no longer have her awareness out here. She needs to draw it back and have her awareness on herself. So it means that she is kind of just shoving you away. This is, and it's a transformation of her, you could say, and this is happening over a period of time. When a woman becomes silent, something is wrong. It's not because something is actually going fine, no. Or if a feminine energy starts to become silent, that is a bad thing. And I think something is molding here in you. Maybe you can feel it in your body, right? That something is going on in your gut area or in your chest area, that you feel very unhappy, that there's something going on here about, it's also, I feel like, the lie that we live with as feminines. Like, we are taught to become masculine, we are taught to get the jobs and become very competitive and join this world, right? But we are not told how it's going to affect us. We may be successful in certain areas, yeah, but we are also totally and utterly neglecting ourselves. We have turned ourselves into this, right? But something is molding here. It's like from underwater. It's almost like it's coming from down, the bubbles that start to come, because something needs to be balanced. Something needs to... Something, I feel like it's showing itself, right? That something is... something is being said here, or witnessed, or talked about, or it's coming to the surface here, that a lot of success is created because something else is being repressed or exploited. Or that you could also say women can only have success if they become masculine, and in the process of becoming masculine they are abandoning themselves here. And that's kind of the lie, right? That's the lie. We're not told this, right? We're just told to pursue the goal, become competitive, learn the rules, play the game, be part of this, right? We're not even asked if we want to. No, we are just kind of shoved into it. We all have. Our parents have, grandparents have, and so on. It's kind of how society works. It's how this community works, but it's masculine. And feminine energies, especially this time right now, I really feel like they're struggling with this. They're realizing the lie. They're realizing that this has been a sacrifice that has been too big. It has been too big of, like, the success has been too big of a sacrifice. Queen of Gabriel here. I get all tied up, all your investments, everything you know, everything you think about is tied up in being this one. Being optimistic, being on top, being brilliant, independent, charming, everything is, but actually she feels tied up in this. Right? She, like, being successful and being strong and independent is, of course, yeah, as I said, in this society, this is probably a favored thing. Because if you were not, masculine energy actually had to take care of you, right? They had to take care of you. And many women today, we are being raised to take care of ourselves. That we don't need men in our lives. So what are the men doing? Well, they go and do whatever they want to do. Because there's nothing for them. They can't be providers. They have gotten off their role and we have gotten off our role. It has actually created more of a divide between us instead of separation. We don't come together like this. It actually creates more of a separation. The more you stick to this, the less feminine you are. But then if you should give this up, lessen your success, lessen your, you would say, power, and take these off and actually stand like this damsel here. Is someone coming or what? Will someone show up here for me? Or are they just playing around out there? I think many feminines are actually doing masculine job, and many masculines, they play around like little boys. Like they don't buckle up and actually become responsible and good solid providers. No, they play around like little boys. They have no responsibilities because the feminines take care of everything. It's like the roles are reversed. So it's like we need a talk here. Because as I said, Venus is not built to carry this kind of load. She can sustain this for a period of time, but actually she gets tied up here. There's no sunshine on her, right? There's no attention on her. She's independent. Nobody's looking. When you're independent, you don't need anyone. Why should someone look at you? If you are independent, you have an aura that says that. So if a man actually would want to come in and be a provider and take a caretaker, taking care of you, he can feel it, right? He can feel, oh, but this is not like, there's no access here for me. I cannot, I can feel it, right? I can feel that there's no openness here. Like, so the more you stay in this, the more you actually tell the world that you don't need anyone to come in, but at the same time, it's your own prison. And it makes you very unhappy because nobody's looking. So how does a woman that has grown herself to be very masculine lessen her masculinity and become softer here? How is she supposed to do that? Weakening herself, some would say. Like, this is frightening. Like, there's a reason why feminine energy has grown masculine. It's because it's in danger. if we don't buckle up in a masculine world, feminine energy is in danger. I said before that there's a saying that men fear being, joked about, or men fear that they are somehow not successful, perhaps. Women fear for their life here. Or feminine energy fears for their life. Masculine energy fears to fail, or to lose a game, or to be bullied, or to be humiliated. Feminine energy fears for its life. Literally fears for its life here. Two of Cups here, let's have a look. Page of Cups. Page of Cups. This is a young energy, bit insecure. Pages are always a bit childlike. There could be a sense of innocence, maybe a bit naive, or, like, as I said, the inner child of Venus, the little girl inside, like she still wants to bring her cup here to someone. Every child needs to be taken care of, having caretakers around them. I've said before about this card that there are butterflies around this one, this seahorse here, and we actually have another seahorse down here, interestingly enough, another seahorse, also a golden seahorse here. So she is with a seahorse, but maybe not the right one, right? Someone here has a favor. This one is looking at this one, and this one is favored by the butterflies. So they have their cup here and is wondering if they should give their cup to this one, while they are turning their back to this one. So maybe this one here is, maybe this one is, I don't know if you are on this side or you are on the other side here. Whether you are this one or you are the other one. Are you the one that feels like someone has turned their back to you and they are favoring someone else? So even though you're very successful or you can take care of yourself, you feel the back here from someone, that they don't put their attention on you. They are adoring someone else here. Or are you the one here that is being adored by someone, but you're not really paying attention to them? It's like someone has the company here of this, but still feels very miserable. Did you have to choose this one? Like maybe this one flew away or got engaged somewhere else. You never got to give them the cup, and you were left with this one. So yeah, you have this one around, but you're miserable. You're missing this one here. So maybe they stick around here. Maybe you chose them, but you were never really happy, right? It was never really the one. I get a feeling of with this that there's a sense of like like someone got away. Or someone didn't see you because you look like this, right? You look like this. So they favored someone else here. They didn't look your way, right? And you kind of just and someone maybe took a secondary choice, you know. They took a different partner perhaps, but they're not happy with that partner. They favor something else. They favor this one here, right? But they didn't quite have that. Or again, one of the reasons why all of this exists is maybe because maybe as a child here you favored one of your parents here, you know. So you favored one and you didn't put much attention on the other. It usually is like that, right? I guess that some boys, they favor their mom and some girls favor their father. But and you want to offer your cup here to them. Maybe you did that. Maybe you did have a close relationship with them until they started working more and until you started school, you know, something like that. Then it's like it could have been kind of broken. It could be the attention left, or work took over, school took over, learning took over, like the feminine aspect of child play and freedom got limited. This I feel like is someone, yeah, they're probably quite brilliant, they're probably very successful, but it actually is a pressure on them. Like they may show up very beautiful and everything, but deep down they do feel like they are tied up here. Like they can't loosen up. That everything is on them. Everything is their responsibility. Everything is like the damsel here, or the feminine inside. She is under lock here. She is the dove in the cave that needs to be maybe released. But how do you do that if you have always been taught to do this to yourself? Like this is this one, right? How do you loosen up this rope here if you have always been told that this one is weak? This one cannot show up in the workplace. This is the one that we keep under lock. This is the one that is underwater, right? Because I have to be independent. I have to take care of myself. As I said, well educated, well spoken, rational, logical, structured, disciplined, and so hardworking, committed, focused, oriented, and so on. Very masculine traits here. And are probably highly successful doing that. But it's a struggle here. Or this other part of you that is here, that is actually very unhappy and probably silent here, it's under lock. You don't listen to it. You can't feel them. You cannot talk to them. You have no conversation with them. And there's a time for them to actually look at each other here. Someone may want, this Page of Cups is usually also like an offer. I'm offering my cup. I'm offering something to someone here. Someone I adore, someone I've always favored, or I've always loved them since I was a child, or it has this very novice teenager-like feeling to it, like a teenage crush on someone, or the feeling of one, and just needing to tell them, right? I need to tell them. Another card on the Two of Cups here, please. So I get the Four of Wands here, Four of fire, but reversed here. So the Four of Wands, in other tarot cards, the Four of Wands is like the marriage card. This is the one that, where we see like the wands constitute like the four cornerstones or the four corner pillars of a home, and there are standing two people in there. And it's like the beginning of a marriage. It's the 1111 card. It is the beginning of a marriage. This is the constitution of family. It is the devotion that you join effort. You join your energy, right, to build a home, to be a home with each other, and so on. But this is reversed, so it feels a little bit like maybe someone is having an affair. Maybe someone is wanting to leave. Maybe someone is, as I said, almost imploding on themselves. So they need to leave, or is very unhappy here. I want to say this can also talk about the one that got away, the one you didn't have the Four of Wands with, but the one who has always been on your mind since maybe you were a child, or a childlike or teenage-like feeling to it. The one you've always felt like was right for you, right? That there's something about maybe this is a memory, or like a past life memory, a soulmate feeling, or a someone you haven't thought about in a long time. Suddenly they show up here on your radar as, wow, this is actually the one. I said something about like cosmic awareness, like there's something about maybe the feeling of a soulmate, or a recognition that they are more than just, this is not an ordinary love, right? Or this is not an ordinary connection. This is not ordinary, right? I need to come in here and say something. This is the one that got away, right? This is the one I want to build with. This is the one I should have my happy ever after here with them. Like we the love we have is a marriage love, right? It's the but you sit alone here. And you are unhappy. Emotionally, you are unhappy. I think you miss them very much here. Like they are, it's your greatest love. Five of Water can be grieving here. Very sad. I don't know, disappointed, miserable, despair, depression. Five of Waters, all these kind of feelings, right? And then there's this, it's like there's this feeling like the more this is sitting in these feelings, the less and less they become. Like it's like they are disappearing, right? It's that this grief is eating them, right? It eats them. The distance perhaps, or the separation or something is killing them, right? It's I get the Chariot card here for the 5 of water here. It says here, determination and self-control, career advancement, acknowledgement of success by others. Yeah. So this is a water card, a Cancerian card normally, Pisces perhaps here. Determination and self-control. Yeah, someone is definitely controlling themselves, keeping it underwater. It says acknowledgement of success by others. Yeah, this is typical, right? This is where someone is realizing that they're keeping themselves maybe back here because something else is successful. So they keep themselves in second place, third place, for someone else to be successful. Acknowledging that something else works, that something else has actually been doing well. So they could be keeping themselves back, I feel like. But the lightning here also tells me that something is brewing that potentially can lead to this Chariot. The Chariot is where someone puts themselves in the driver's seat here and they decide to walk away perhaps, or to go their own path, or to choose themselves, or to choose even a spiritual path with the 7 here. This can be an intuitive decision to leave or to go somewhere, to have the determination and look for other advancement somewhere else here. Leaving a marriage perhaps. And again, they could literally know, right? They could be very much aware that Jupiter is big and can create a lot of success in certain areas. But it still doesn't help them. Like they still miss the contact, right? They still miss the romantic dinners. They miss the time with you. They are just realizing, I can't stay here, right? I suffer here. I'm suffering. I see that you are doing well here, that something is doing well here, but I'm suffering, so I need to go, right? I need to choose myself. Potentially leaving a marriage. And maybe you want to offer something because you don't want it to be a divorce, right? You don't want them to leave. But they could be determined, as I said, be aware of the silent woman, the silent wife, or the silent feminine. A silent feminine is a bad thing. Feminine energy usually chats. It's chatty. If it grows silent, something is wrong. When it feels free and adored and, vibrant. I have a Libra friend, right? She says that she loves to be in love. Like this, loves to be in love, loving that she knows that someone is in love with her. Like the feeling that someone desires her, that puts attention on her, that adores her, that takes her out, that shows her, like that is showing her off, like that someone who is adoring her, this feeling of all this attention and everything, this is what makes her blossom. This is where she dresses up and where she does her hair and her makeup, and she's wanting to present herself as the most beautiful in the world, right? And she's doing this to please him, right? She wants to be his. She wants to be adored, right, and desired. And when you take that away from a feminine energy, well, she will try to ask for it. She will try to ask for your engagement. But if you don't give it to her, eventually she turns more and more silent. She retrieves. A retrieving woman is a bad thing. When she stops to chat, it's a bad thing. It's a really bad thing, at least if you want to keep her around. If you want the marriage to last, you need to invest in her. Like, that's just how it is. No feminine energy likes to be alone. Like, deep down, no, they don't. No matter how feministic you are and so on. I know I have been taught this too, right? Become independent, make sure you can get your money in order, get your career going. But deep down, feminine energy doesn't like to be left alone. It doesn't like to be on its own. It likes company. It likes to chat. It likes to be free and be seen and, cared for in a certain sense. So when we all become very masculine, we are actually depriving our own feminine energy, our bodies perhaps, our sensualities, our emotions. Our body needs touch from time to time, right? It needs to be touched. It releases oxytocin and other kinds of hormonal stimulation in the body. We need some of this. But sometimes we ignore it, right? Because we have all become so masculine. And feminines, they are suffering in this. It's not a good time for feminine energy. At least not if they are in society, if they are in civilization, that join this club. When you join this club, you're asked something specific of you. Of the men, yeah. Of the women too. An advice card. Can we have an advice card maybe about this? Again, look at this. Someone is sitting here alone. This was the one you wanted to marry. This was the one who got away. The one that left at the altar, The one you declared your love to, but they chose something else. Or it never worked out. And even if it did once, it seems like right now it's not. Or the conversation, again, the memory, the good nostalgic memory of when we met is definitely not here now. Like, it's not here now. Someone could be leaving. They are alone on this chariot here. They could be leaving. I've said that my prediction for this time that we are in right now and this new earth that is coming is that feminine energy is going to retrieve. Feminine energy is going to retrieve itself from masculine energy. Because it's not nurtured there. There's nothing there to sustain it. It's suffering there. So this is my prediction. So I get this card. This was the advice card, right? I get contract here, and then Miss Justice here, standing with the two scales. Advice card is to find a balance, right? The contract can even talk about a marriage contract, like you have signed marriage papers here, or you have a soul, maybe there's a soul contract here. Maybe you do have the feeling of like that there is something about this person here, or there is as I said, between masculine and feminine energy on earth, that we need each other. We have a contract with each other here. But sometimes one is maybe favored and sometimes the other. It's about finding this balance, even finding it in blindness, that we should be able to feel this out, right? Feel when something is in balance. If you can't feel it, if you don't feel it, then this is the reason that why something is leaving. It's the reason why that when the balance is off, something happens here. I believe that the human species innately, we are very selfish, very selfish species. We're very concerned about ourselves and our self-image and how we look and how others perceive us, and we are concerned about our own needs. Like even the most altruistic people, or those that seem like they only care about the others, well, they probably care about the others so that someone would care about them. Like maybe they care to be liked so that others like them, and therefore still serving a more underlying selfish or self-oriented need. I think we are very selfish species. The way we are treating nature also, I don't really think that we're not aligned with nature anymore. We don't respect it. We don't respect each other, I think. Not really. And for some reason, it seems like we can lose ourselves, right? We can become so absorbed with something that we forget about everything else. We can be success aroused or success hypnotized, and then we forget about something else until it's gone. Until it's gone. The contract here is, there could be a legal contract here. So that could literally be something about the justice system, resolving a marriage perhaps here. Or there could be a soul contract here, where it was supposed to play out, that something was supposed to play out. You were supposed to figure something out here. It feels a little bit like someone, I feel like, cannot stay and they want to leave. And someone could be actually becoming very tied up here with someone leaving. Like suddenly they will have a big focus on this. How do I get this back? How do we revive this? How can we stay together? How can we avoid a divorce, right? Or how can I get them back here? How can I get them back? But I get the feeling that something here has almost, I feel like they have already left, or they're barely here. Like I can barely see them here. One more card on this Five of Water here. Yeah, I think like there's pearls here. She could have beautiful dresses. She may have a friend here, or this is a child. But she's not happy. Again, she's turned her back to this one. She's thinking about someone else here, right? She's thinking about someone else. This one is right there. It's right by her side here, but she's not looking. She's so absorbed, so obsessed about something else, and so unhappy. I feel like this could be an old crush or something. The one you're thinking about here, the one that got away, the one you never got married to, or the one you couldn't. And there could be this feeling that the grief or this sadness makes someone almost implode on themselves. They have to leave. They have to go and find them, right? They have to go with their gut feeling or their intuition. They have to, they let themselves be driven by this. They put their mind to something, and the Chariot can usually talk about that it's emotions or intuition that drives this choice. That the reason why they go is an emotional thing. It is a feeling. It is it's an intuition or an intuitive feeling, a feeling of like calling or something that they have to go. So it's not a disciplined, structured, rational, logical choice. It's an emotional choice that makes them break out of something here. That they need to go, right? They need to heal, perhaps. They need to look for something else here. Or as I said, again, if the feminine goes silent, becomes sad, or she's not speaking, pretending nothing is happening, it's because she's given up. Then she gives up. She may still stay because she does care. That's why she's grieving here. That's why she's sad. It's because she cares. If she didn't care, it wouldn't hurt her. It's because she does care. She did care. She's always cared. But if you leave her unattended, this is a really bad thing. Because she will become miserable. And eventually she turns. Her loyalty, her caring, all her devotion leaves. Like it won't stay forever. Not if you eventually it can stay for a long time. But then it's like her life force, literally life force, is burning out. She has to leave. She has no other choice. And from that way forward, she will be more concentrating on her own path, not on yours, not anymore. So this beautiful partner, or she's probably not staying. So another card for the Two of Cups here. I get the touching earth here. Touching earth, planting something new. I did feel like something new is about to happen. New earth, new awareness. A bit like Jupiter touching earth here, right? It's like putting a sudden new awareness on Venus, right? Or putting sudden new awareness on something that you may not have done before, or it has not been that big of a deal for you. But then it could be that now it is. Now actually you are very aware of this, very aware of certain things that need to be nurtured, that this becomes a priority now. That's why the Chariot is also here, right? It becomes a priority. It's a necessity. Maybe you need to go through a divorce to get more balance here. And the other one, like the other party here, needs to realize that something has been totally off here. Like maybe on the surface it looked like a great marriage, but underneath it all, someone was very unhappy here. So even though actually they may love each other, if one is starving, it doesn't matter. Like love is great, but if you have no food on the table, eventually you will have to leave. Yeah. So this is what I feel like, that there is there could be a feeling of needing to let a divorce go through legal system, changing a contract. One may want someone to stay, one wants to leave, and then there's this feeling of but can we talk? Can we fix this, right? Can we get back to this? But I think I must say that with these cards, I'm not sure. This feels more like someone leaving. Like they are leaving because they want new beginning. They want something greener. The grass is greener on another side. It seems like, right? Like she wants her fertility back. Like if she's starving, it's like she's looking for her fertility, right? She needs to feel that she's a flower again. Like she wants her garden to be a flowering garden, not a dead one. Right? And you're the gardener. So how are you treating your garden? Right? It's like it won't do on its own. Venus is like this garden. You need to help her. You need to put attention on her. Provide. Put the seeds, water it, fertilize it, and put attention on it. That is how Venus works. If you leave her alone, she could end up becoming bitter and resentful and eventually implode on herself, totally discard of you, and leave here, wanting a divorce, going on her own path, touching new, needing to renew herself. And you will be the one that stands there and like, what happened, right? What happened? I thought we were happy. No, if a woman goes silent, never ever ignore a woman or feminine that goes silent. Something is wrong. Unless you want out. Unless you want it to happen. Unless you're doing it on purpose. Or you want this to happen. Unless you want it to happen, then then you're of course on the right path. Maybe this tied up feeling is that you don't want to be with this person anymore. But I feel like it's more about the masculinity. It's about that it gives you inner turmoil. That you are successful in one area but you feel miserable in another. Or that you are very successful but your partner seems to not quite thrive. Right? Again, when a Venus energy turns plain, like she's not taking care of herself. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, but it's something about not taking care of her body, her personal needs, her appearance. It's because if she is in a relationship with someone, even family, it's because she is malnourished, maltreated. There's no nurture for her there. There's no food. She's starving. So you can have like a vibrant man and a plain woman, or a plain looking gray woman. That would be that scenario. So someone feeling very good and someone feeling gray here. I believe all feminine energy feels a bit gray at the moment, because masculinity is favored everywhere we look. There is a growing resistance though, or leaving, like I feel like leaving because the conversation that needs to be happening actually is going to ask the masculine energy to loosen up its grip on her here, to keep her so under lock, right? It's going to ask her, the masculine energy is going to need to cut those ties here on her. And maybe if the feminine energy knows this is never going to happen, because it means then masculine energy must lessen its control, and it won't do that. So they're leaving here. They're walking away, taking the car, simply without maybe even without saying anything. They're gone. They're out of there. They're gone. They want love. You want love. They want love too. But this is not what's happening. One feels neglected. And then they're leaving. Even though you could care for each other. This could even be a mutual agreement. Where you're realizing we cannot stay married anymore because we will drain each other dry. Or I'm realizing I drain someone dry. I have to let them go. That you being with me is actually a bad thing for you. This is what I feel like I have. I hope this helped somehow, Sagittarius. Take care of yourself out there. I send you my love and light. Bye bye.